Hey guys, I'm here with Uncle Chad because one of my skill videos for you guys is the best way to take care of your beard and mustache. And as you guys know, I don't like to outsource things unless, I can bring in the very best. But Uncle Chad is ranked worldwide in the care and maintenance of beards. He's going to take it away.
Alright. Hey guys. Let's see. Probably some pointers for starting growing out your first beard or your 15th, whatever it may be.
Yes.
Probably the first thing it takes is time. I mean, it's going to be there whether you want it to or not. And so the first step is to stop shaving. And from there on, usually it takes about probably a good 4 to 6 weeks before you kind of know what you're working with. Because certain areas can be a little sparser or grow faster than others or grow slower. Like I have this little part here that's fairly thin, but whatever. Usually, I think rule of thumb is about half an inch a month for most guys, and it depends. I mean, it just kind of you can only work with what you got. But I think you guys would probably do all right. Usually, I'm trying to think. Mustaches usually grow in a little slower or a little thinner, but that's kind of helpful because they're directly above your mouth.
Right.
Let's see. When I usually had a kind of a short beard, or actually, I think your dad saw me when I grew my first goatee,
Yes.
freshman year of college, and I liked it so much I kept it.
Yes.
And back then I was taking a pair of scissors and cutting it because I didn't know any better, but they do make great just beard trimmers. They're almost like the ones for your top of your head, just shorter in general and smaller for your beard, just so it's all the same length and kind of even, and those are really nice. Usually the brands don't matter a bit too much, but Wall, Remington,
Yes.
those sorts of guys, they know what they're doing. So I'd say if you're going to do that, then keep up with that, because they can get really shaggy and unkempt quickly, and that doesn't do you any good if you don't look good.
Like me. Pretty shaggy. So, talk about, because this is something I really don't know about, talk about what kind of products do you put in your beard? When you get in the shower, do you shampoo your beard, or do you use something else?
That's something that I don't do that often. I'll usually do like a water rinse to wash it out. But one of the reasons when you're growing a beard out, it gets itchy. Usually there are two reasons. One is the hairs get long enough and you start poking yourself with it if they're not kind of groomed or brushed out. And the second thing is the hairs are actually pulling moisture in the sense of like oil from your skin, and so it's literally drying out your skin because it's starting to kind of wick away that oil that's normally just on your face as a layer of moisture protection that you have everywhere, and so that'll cause the dryness. And so what I usually do is I'll shampoo it on occasion, but not often, just because it strips out those oils, then it gets dry and brittle. But I'll usually do that with just water, and then conditioners are nice because they also wash through and cleaning anything that may have been caught in there or just around, just kind of give it a nice fresh look. But usually there are beard oils for that, and it's just like I've seen stuff that's vegetable oil, but there's better stuff for your skin than that. Like jojoba, begins with a J, argan oil, which is ARGAN, not the element, and others that are usually in there. You just need like a drop or two, and you work that in your palms, and just spread it around just so it kind of absorbs it. And any sort of extra you can just rub on your hands, because basically hair is the same material, keratin, as the rest of your hair, skin, and your nails, so just that works just fine too. There are a couple like beard butters out there. That's just kind of like a thicker version of the oil, just a different consistency that you kind of warm up with your hands as opposed to being like a liquid drop format. And but that's usually a good way to keep your beard moisturized with those sorts of specialized oils. Another thing, like because it's December when we're making this, in winter weather when it gets really dry, that's also important because for the same reasons, it's dry and cold as opposed to summertime, and so it'll dry out a lot quicker. So usually have to kind of up the regimen just to make sure everything's kind of looks healthy and doesn't do you any disservice. Although speaking of seasons, the one thing I did learn is in the summertime having a beard actually cools you off a little bit because you don't have the direct sun rays on your skin, and so it's kind of like a straw hat or a Bermuda hat. Like there's usually enough shade to cool your skin, and then any sort of breeze that comes by can help cool you off that way too. So it's not a wool rug on your face, unless I don't know it could be, but probably not. But there's also a group out of Australia called, I think, Beard Season that encourages guys to grow a beard to protect themselves from the sun, because down there, when the sun comes out, they're a lot closer. I guess the sun's more intense down there in Australia, and so for skin cancer prevention and awareness, that's a simple things that guys can do to help kind of protect themselves against that.
Yep, those crazy Australians.
And their jellies.
Yes. All right, so how long did it take you to grow the beard you have now?
This took me about 5 years, and it's down to about my belly button here, and it's at what's called terminal length. Every hair grows to a specific length that's predetermined. For the same reason, when you go to the barber shop, you don't need to get your eyebrows trimmed. The beard hairs grow to a particular length. Like I have friends, the beard grows to here, and that's it. That's what they can do. And so mine happened to grow longer. That was one of the reasons I did, just to see how long it would get, what it would look like, if it would be curly or straight, or what colors there would be. And so just kind of fun from my perspective.
My eyebrows grow.
They do.
Bushy.
But they don't, you couldn't curl them or style them. They wouldn't cover your eyes like a mustache. Mustache for eyebrows. But I've had this for 7 years now, or I've been growing it out, but it stopped a couple years back, and so, which is good. I mean, that way I'm not tripping over it, or it's not completely in the way.
Do you trim it like you would get your hair trimmed?
On occasion, I can find split ends and kind of trim it here and there, but probably wouldn't hurt. It'll come back if you let it. So I'm not too concerned.
Anything else?
Usually it's good to have a stiff boar's hair brush to kind of keep things groomed, especially at a length like that would be good. And then that also helps kind of works any of the beard oil or the batt or whatever products into there and kind of gets it evenly distributed, which is nice. And I've seen some places have beard combs that are made out of metal. Those, they have sharp edges, and I just don't like that anywhere near. I mean, scissors are made out of metal. Don't make combs out of metal. And stay away from cheaper combs, because they're usually mold injected, and so you can see a little plastic kind of lip on them, and that'll snag and tear and be really uncomfortable. So some of the nicer ones, if you check with barbershops, they can recommend some kinds, but they're smooth all the way around, so they'll go through a lot easier and be a lot kinder on things that are attached to your face.
That's good advice.
Well, thank you.
Have you got one of the boar's hair brush handy?
I have one, but I don't know where it is right now. It's in one of the bathrooms.
I see how it is.
Mm-hmm. I didn't prepare. But yeah, they're about the size of a deck of playing cards, and the bristles are maybe that long, and you just kind of brush it on through. They should still have them in the future.
Yes. Now, one question I have,
Mm-hmm.
Right now Alex has the kind of blonde sort of proto mustache.
Mm-hmm.
It's peach fuzz.
Yep.
So if he, I've heard different versions of this, and I don't know whether it's just a wives' tale, but if he shaves that off, will it come back coarser and heavier?
Not because he shaved it off. If that was the case, then men could cure baldness by just shaving their heads. So if it came back thicker or fuller, it would be because the hairs there are getting bigger, or just, but he would see that anyhow.
But we can. Totally.
So yeah, shaving it to have it grow back thicker or fuller is just an old wives' tale. Yeah.
It will do it on its own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In the fullness of time.
It will, and it takes time. Like I didn't try to grow anything really until late in high school or college, and then because I didn't know if I even could, but over the years, I mean by 20, facial hair at 14, 16, 20, 24, they're all very different. I've seen guys with crazy big beards because they let them grow at 20 versus other guys that couldn't hardly do anything, but by 24 they had caught up or whatever. So a lot of it just depends on your genes and what you can do and what you can't. I mean, I think some of my friends that I know now, like, started shaving, like, had legit beards in like middle school, and that's just a lot to deal with. And on top of everything else, so it'll come in due time.
Yep. Now, tell us about your club that you're in.
Yes. Let's see. Back in 2011, I started the Rva Beard League, and what that is, currently there are a bunch of similar clubs around the country and actually around the world. And ours here is a social kind of community service group, and so we get together once a month for beers and community service activities and just kind of fun stuff to do. And we've met a bunch of really neat people, and it's kind of a nice excuse to meet folks that weren't from school or for work or wherever, and just to kind of go and explore different parts of the city for different reasons. And the nice thing is we've been able to help out. We usually have a beard competition each year, and we usually all the money from that goes to a local charity, just someplace. When we did our first year, we went with the Central Virginia Food Bank, but they have like actual dedicated fundraising staff, and so we raised, I think, $1,400.
Wow.
And so when we showed up, we dropped off the check and like, thank you, chunk, and that was it. And so we realized it was just like a drop in a very large bucket. And so we started to choose different charities that were smaller, working with smaller budgets, but still doing really good work for the town and the people in it, and but still had like kind of good financials. Like they weren't all spending it on, CEO salaries or things like that. And so that way we knew, hopefully, that the money that we raised and spent a lot of time raising would go further and kind of go more towards the programs. And so it's 2018 now. This year we were able to hold nationals and raise $25,000 for a local breast cancer charity. And so that got split. But yeah, it was just a fun way to meet folks from all over, and because of this one silly tree.
Yep. And how highly have you placed in the world rankings?
Let's see. When I went to Austria, I got 7th place in freestyle. That's when I do the big crazy designs with hairspray and all that. And then I got 8th place in Austria. And then when we went to Austin, Texas in 2017, that was 7th place. And that was also, they usually have different categories at the competitions, including fake ones for guys who can't or won't grow them, and ladies. And Aunt Amy got 1st in the world for her big creative mustache.
That's right.
So my wife
so there you got it.
is higher ranked than I am.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Uncle Chad.
Well, thank you very much, Rob.
This wraps up this session of stuff I need to make sure you guys learn properly, because they're important life skills.